Hi, sweethearts. It is Mrs. Bond here with another instructional flip video. We are continuing our writing series. Let's get it right. So here's what I need for you all to do. I need for you to take a moment and pause this video and see what do all of these images have in common. Once you have taken a minute to analyze the video and you have determined what they have in common, then you will click play. Alrighty, welcome back. I know that you all had a moment to look at all of the videos that we see here, and what do we notice? We see a phone conversation, we see texting, we see a letter, we see a type of text, we see an application. All of these things are dealing with communication. So here's our objective. Students will be able to write an informative or expository essay in order to analyze and convey complex ideas and information clearly and accurately through the effective selections and organization of content. So if we were to just deep dive in this, we know that you guys are going to write. Your verbs will be to write, to analyze, to convey complex ideas and information clearly and accurately. So when we're writing, again, we are going to write a particular manner, and when we're doing this, we're going to demonstrate that we are able to analyze and convey complex ideas and information clearly and accurately. That is something that we need to remember when we are writing an informative and an expository essay. This is all about assessing your knowledge on a particular topic. So you must accurately and intentionally give information that will help the reader to understand what you're saying. And this information must not lead your reader or your audience astray. Okay, so let's talk about what an expository essay is, or what is expository writing. Expository writing is writing to explain. Now we know when we're explaining something, we want to inform, we want to clarify, we want to define, or we want to instruct. So that is the purpose of expository writing. I want to explain something to you by giving you the information. I want to clarify it and make it clear for you. I may have to define some things to tell you what these things are and what they mean, or I may have to give you instructions on something so that you can walk away with an understanding of on a particular topic. So what is the purpose of it? So the purpose of expository essay, again, is explaining a topic in a logical and a straightforward manner. It's logical, it's straightforward. We've talked about logical in class. It has to make sense. Straightforward it basically means you are giving it to me in a specific order, and you're not taking me all the way around the mulberry bush. Straightforward is kind of like this. If I wanted to give you the directions to your school, I would give you the main streets, or I would give you the way to get to your school by using the expressway. I will not give you the back streets. Okay? So without the bells and the whistles, expository essays present a fair and balanced analysis of a subject based on facts. We are not going to reference our opinions or our emotions. It has to be objective. Objective is facts only, okay? We know that an analysis is when we break something down so that we can see how all of the pieces work together. So in analysis, you're going to go into the text. You're going to break down the text. You're going to see how the words work with each other, the structure work with each other, how the organization of it works with each other. And that all of that is going to help us to understand the topic even better, okay? How is expository writing different from the other types of writing? Well, it's not going to tell a story. That's a narrative. It is not going to persuade a reader. It's only going to give facts and reasons. It is not going to summarize the book. It is not a book review. It is not only your opinion. You must base your ideas and evidence from the text. Here's what I need for you to remember. Your evidence must be presented in your body, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but it must be presented in your body, and your evidence must be sufficient. That means you need to have 2 or more pieces of evidence that is going to support what you're talking about. Again, we're going to get deeper in that later on in the series. So why are we really going over this? So the truth is writing is everywhere. You cannot escape writing. You will be writing for the rest of your life. But this particular structure and this particular teaching is going to prepare us for the 10 ready, okay? The 10 ready is your end of the course assessment. It's your state assessment where you're going to have to write to a certain prompt, and then that information will be sent, or your writing will be sent to the state where other people will grade it, okay? All right, so let's take a minute and let's look at the rubric. So I want you to pause your video and just look at the rubric. Okay, so you had an opportunity to look at your rubric. How many categories did you notice? What did you notice? And what did you wonder about after reading this particular rubric? If you were not able to read this rubric, I have posted a rubric in our Canvas course. It is under the heading EOC or 10 ready rubrics, 10 ready writing rubrics, okay? But if you are able to see, you notice that we have 4 categories: focus and organization, development, language, and conventions. We're going to deep dive into that right about now. So let's break this down. What is focus and organization? Focus and organization is simply the content and the structure. It is what you're writing, and it is the structure. Well, how do we ensure that we're hitting all of the points or marks on focus and organization? The first thing is you have to answer the prompt. So I will show you an example of a prompt later on in this video, but you need to answer it. That will help you to stay on task, which is the second bullet point. You must stay on topic. You must have an introduction, a body, and conclusion. That is your structure. You must have transitions from one paragraph to another paragraph, and these transitions must be smooth. It must be cohesive. And I like to say flow. We want your essays to flow, not feel forced. We want it to be smooth, okay? So then when we're talking about development is your evidence and your explanations. This is where the meat and the heart of your essay will flourish. the development happens in the body. So again, we'll talk more about that in our other videos. But what do I mean when I say development or evidence and explanation? You're going to have to support what you're saying from the text. We need textual evidence. And then your textual evidence needs to provide insight about the importance or the relevance of what you're speaking about. It needs to be connected to your thesis statement, your topic sentence, and you must thoroughly explain to your reader why this is important. What does this evidence mean to us as the reader? What does it mean to your topic sentence? How does it prove or validate what you're saying? And then when we're talking about language, we're talking about diction. Of course, we know that diction has to do with the author's word choice. When we were on the other side of the class, when we were readers, we analyzed why authors used certain words. And we learned that certain words create mood and tone. Certain words affect our readers' emotions. That is the same thing that you want to do in the seat of a writer. You are now writers. So when we're talking about language, again, we're talking about the word choice. Figurative words, connotative words, technical words, denotative words. You need to use precise. When I'm talking about precise, I mean exact language. You need to use literary techniques that we discussed. You need to focus on your style and your tone and make sure that this is objective. You need to use domain-specific words. In other words, these are words that connects to the task and to the text. That's that word glue that we're talking about. Use words that you have identified from your prompt in your text and put those things into your paragraphs. Just don't stick it there. Remember, we have to have flow. And then we're talking about conventions. We're talking about grammar, spelling, and syntax. Syntax is the structure of your sentence. So we want to limit the misspelling of words. We want to make sure that we're properly punctuating our sentences. We want to make sure that we're not writing an essay that's full of simple sentences. We want to make sure that we have some compound sentences, some compound complex sentences. We want to make sure that we started a couple of sentences with some adjectives or some adverbs. We want to write as if we can write on grade level. And that's something that we can do and something that we will practice. All right, so how do we get all of this done? So the first thing we're going to do is pull apart the prompt. So in your end of the course, you are going to receive a prompt. And you're going to receive some text to read that connects with the prompt. So you're going to draw a T-chart. You're going to circle any words that you are asked to do something. Those are verbs. You're going to place those on the left side of your chart. You're going to highlight the words that give you the what. You're going to put that on the right side of your chart. And then you're going to just summarize and rewrite your prompt underneath your T-chart. So let's practice. I want you to take a minute and I want you to read this prompt. And you're going to figure out what is this prompt asking you to write about. What will be your focus? How do we do that? We're going to put our verbs on our left side and we're going to put our what on the right side. So go ahead and pause right here. Make sure that you identify your verbs and your nouns. All right. So again, we're going to pull apart our prompt. So you should have wrote on the left side the word write. What are you writing? Informational essay. What is your other action? You're explaining. What are you explaining? How placebos function in our lives. Okay. what are you going to do? You're going to use what evidence from both passages. You're also going to avoid over-relying on one text. So we should have write, we should have explain, we should have use, we should have avoid. Some of you may put manage. That is perfectly fine if you want to do that. All right, so now after you've pulled apart your prompt and you have an idea of what you're going to write about or what you should write about, you're going to organize it. How do we organize it? You're going to turn that prompt into a question, and then you're going to answer that question to create your thesis statement. Your thesis statement will go into your introduction, and then you're going to find evidence that is going to support your thesis statement, your claim. We're going to put that with the body, and then you're going to think about how you want to explain your evidence. What does it mean? What does it matter? You're also going to think about how you want to structure your essay. Okay? All right. Let's practice a little bit. This is the prompt. I want you to use a prompt to determine what to discuss and how we would discuss it. Remember, we talked about the word how. How means process, or in what manner. In what manner will you discuss this? It's basically asking you, are you going to do cause and effect? Are you going to do problem solution? Are you going to do define and describe? It's asking you how you are going to how are you going to structure your essay? Okay? Think about that. So how do placebos function in our lives? I want you to think about examples from what you've learned from the text, and then your thesis would basically be because placebos affect how individuals feel and are used as a blank. So you're going to repeat steps 1 and 2 for your topic, sentence, and your evidence. So how does placebo functions in your life? Think about the examples, okay? All right. So let's talk about writing. You have 3 sections for your body, you have 3 sections for your essay. The first one is the introduction. The second one is your body. And the last one is your conclusion. Okay? So introduction, body, conclusion. We have to make sure that those are sewn together. There must be flow. Some people may call it a beginning, middle, and the end. Okay. We need a beginning, middle, and an end. So I'm going to stop right here. This is your overview video, and then I'm going to come back with your introduction, and I'm going to break it down. So we're going to do introduction. I'm going to go through that. Then we're going to do body. I'm going to go through that. Conclusion. I'm going to go through that. Alrighty, sweetheart. So join me for part 2, the introduction paragraph.